I began by sanding down the car with some coarser grit, roughly 200 grit, and then worked my way up to finer grit from 600, 800, etc. I don't know what's going on with this paint here. It's probably because I'm not an auto body man, but it's turning my sandpaper black and it's barely coming off over in this rear quarter panel, so that's fun. Off camera, I removed the headlights and grille and masked the whole car so that it's ready to go. I still have some little areas that I'm going to sand, but I wanted to mask it first to protect them in case I messed up and accidentally hit some things that I didn't want to. So it just adds a little extra protection. And we're about ready to get starting painting. After masking, I went around with my little small triangle sander and got all the little areas. I then followed up with a small sanding block and hand sanded the little areas, followed by using my polisher again at a higher grit on the larger areas. So I've basically sanded the car 2 to 3 times in some areas to make it smooth before priming. I quickly smoothed over the rest of the car using 600 grit paper in preparation for priming it. Now it's time to prime, going through doing a few coats of primer and then going to sand it again, prime it again, possibly, I'm not sure yet, and then paint it with some black paint to save on our expensive Volvo color match paint, and then sand that possibly depending on how it looks, and then do the color match paint, and that's about it. After priming, I quickly sanded over it all again with 800 grit to make it smooth. After sanding it down with 800 grit, it was now ready for the black base coat before we sand it, possibly sand it again, to put down the final Volvo color match coat. Without realizing it until now, I went out and bought a brown base coat color on accident. So we'll make do with what we have, use this. I might go chase out and get a black and go from there. So as you can see, there's a lot of fresh primer spots now. That's because I couldn't see with the old primer because it was black, which was a mistake, that it was way too heavy on there, way too wet, and there was a lot of drip edges and stuff, so I had to sand them all down. Now I'm gonna sand the brown accident base coat down to make it smoother. I went out and bought black, so I'm going to repaint it black now correctly for an actual base coat. I will sand down the black base coat after I've put down 2 to 3 coats with some 1500 grit sandpaper to get ready for the final coat of the actual Volvo black paint match. If you're curious how I've been able to paint in December in Wisconsin, this is how. It's a propane heater, heats up the garage. My garage is insulated, although actually today is unseasonably warm. It's December 26th. There is no snow out there, and it is about 60 degrees out. Well, it's less now. It's probably about 45, maybe 50, so that's why I'm heating the garage up to get ready for paint. I learned from some of my mistakes. First, I was carrying around my detailing light while doing it to make sure I'm seeing it better. I started doing much lighter coats. The first coat, you can see plenty of brown and primer mixed together through it to make sure that it's light and not too many dripping areas. There are still some that will be sanded down when we go and sand it down again, so it's not a big deal. Just basically learning from mistakes is the key part to take away from this. Is take it slow, take it easy, go light. Okay, the car is black, primed, painted, and rather smooth. It's ready to go. Gonna do this, it doesn't even say Volvo anywhere on it, but paint match paint to get it to the original color, and that's about it. We're just gonna do a few coats of that and it should be good. As I was just about to start painting the body, I realized I have not done the spoiler at all, and it's been sitting on my workbench this whole time. Oops. Well, that'll get done soon too. Since I forgot about the spoiler, I'll be doing that now. The first order of business was to wash it off with some all-purpose cleaner, because it is filthy and dirty underneath with actual dirt. Then I took some high grit sandpaper and just sanded it off a little bit because the paint actually isn't too bad, and then primed and painted. Okay, so the paint job is all done, and it basically came out exactly how I expected. Honestly, it's not great. It's not awful. There's just simply so much you can do with a spray paint can. I basically did it this way to see if I could do it. Honestly, that was it. And I wanted to make a video of me doing it because I thought it could be interesting. Final cost of this paint job was roughly $200. And that's because of the color match paint from Volvo specifically was about $80 to $90. I don't remember exactly how much. And having to buy a lot of sandpaper. I probably could have done the job easier if I didn't use my polisher that I use for detailing and used like an actual orbital sander or like a straight black sander or something, but I worked with what I had to try to save cost. Would I do this again? No, it's not worth it. Yeah, I saved money, obviously, but just pay a professional, save up and do it. But with the amount of time it took me to actually do this, I could have made plenty of money to pay somebody to do an excellent job. I'd say I did a decent job, but there are definitely spots where I'm going to be taking paint thinner to and sanding down again because it's like peeling and cracking because I didn't prep it in a good area or prep it right, and paint over that. So it's partially my error because I'm not skilled and partially because of how I did it, honestly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. More nonsense with this car and the other